Hi everyone and welcome to Lipstick on a Rig. Today we're going to be making this ultra slouchy beanie. And today we're going to be working with size 4 medium weight polyester yarn. And this is just the Lion Brand Yarns Respun. And this color is Parchment. And we'll also be using a size F or 5 or 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. And we're going to begin by attaching the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 59. And once you have your 59 chains in place, then you're going to skip your turning chain and diving right into the back loop only of your second chain, you're going to place a half double crochet slip stitch. So to do that, yarn over and insert your crochet hook in that back loop, and then yarn over and drop all the loops on your crochet hook. And we're going to repeat that in the back loop only of our next 9 stitches so that we have a total of 10 half double crochet slip stitches. And once you have your 10 half double crochet slip stitches, then you're going to skip your next stitch, and in the back loop only of the next stitch, you're going to place a double crochet. Then you're going to place 1 double crochet in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches so that you have a total of 3 double crochets in the back loop only. And so now working backwards in that skipped stitch in the back loop only, we're going to place a double crochet, and that will create our cable stitch. And it might be a little bit challenging in this first row, but you really want to bring this all the way up close to your last double crochet stitch to create this sort of line here. And that's where you're going to finish out your stitch, is up here. So that's our first cable stitch. So now to place our subsequent cable stitches, we're just going to skip our next stitch and diving right into the back loop only of the following stitch, we're going to place a double crochet. And then we're going to place 1 double crochet in the back loop only of our following 2 stitches. So when we're done, we should have a total of 3 double crochets. And now working in the back loop only of our skipped stitch, we're going to place a double crochet. And we're just going to follow that pattern going all the way down our row. And when we get done, we should have a total of 12 cable stitches, and then of course our 10 half double crochet slip stitches. And when you get to the end of your row, it should look something like this. So now we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And we're going to place 12 cable stitches, and then we're going to place 10 half double crochet slip stitches. So to place your first cable stitch, you're going to skip your chain 2 as well as your first double crochet stitch, and in that second double crochet stitch underneath the full stitch you're going to place a double crochet. Then you're going to place 1 double crochet in your next 2 stitches. And again, we are working under the full stitch now. So now working back in our skipped stitch right here, we're going to place a double crochet. And you should find that your cable stitches are significantly easier to place now. The first row is always the most difficult with those. And just a quick check to make sure that your cable stitch is directly on top of your previous cable stitch before you continue on with your row. And this one is. So now we're just going to follow that pattern. So we're going to skip our next stitch, and then we're going to place 1 double crochet in our following 3 stitches. And we're going to repeat our cable stitch pattern until we get back to our half double crochet slip stitches. So again, we should have a total of 12 cable stitches. And once you've placed your 12 cable stitches, it should look something like this. And as you can see, we're creating a sort of V or U pattern with our stitches. And so when you get back to your half double crochet slip stitches, all you're going to do is place 1 half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop only of each of those 10 stitches. And once you're done placing your 10 half double crochet slip stitches, then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And so for our next row, we're going to skip our turning chain and we're going to place 1 half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop only of our first 10 stitches. And after you've placed your 10 half double crochet slip stitches in the back loop only, then you're going to begin to place your cable stitches in the full stitch. So again, we're just going to skip our next stitch and place 1 double crochet in our following 3 stitches. Then we're going to place 1 double crochet in our skipped stitch to complete our cable stitch. And we're just going to repeat that process going all the way down our row, and we should have a total of 12 cable stitches when we're done. And at the end of your row, your pattern should look something like this. And so at the end of your row, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. And from here, we're just going to repeat those last 2 rows over and over to build the body of our beanie. So essentially, we're just going to place 1 cable stitch in each of our previous row's cable stitches, and then 1 half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop only of our previous row's half double crochet slip stitches. And when we're turning on our half double crochet slip stitches, we're going to chain 1, and when we're turning on our cable stitches, we're going to chain 2. And that is all we're going to do, is just repeat that process to build the body of our beanie. And I went ahead and crocheted this until my brim reached about 18 inches. So now we're going to fold our beanie in half. And make sure you've ended your last row to where your crochet hook is on your brim side rather than the top up here. And now that your beanie is folded in half, we are going to join these 2 edges using slip stitches. So we're going to begin by skipping our turning chain. We're going to insert our crochet hook up underneath the full last stitch, and then up underneath these 2 loops on the opposite edge. So you're working under these 2 loops here. Then you're going to yarn over and drop all the loops on your crochet hook for a slip stitch. And now we're just going to repeat that process for all of our half double crochet slip stitch stitches. And once you're done joining your half double crochet slip stitches, then we're going to move on to our cable stitches. So we're again going to insert our crochet hook up underneath the full stitch on our last row, and then again up underneath these 2 loops on our first row. And we're just going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on our crochet hook for a slip stitch. And then we're just going to repeat that process in the remaining stitches in our row. And once you're done joining your two edges, it should look something like this. And don't worry, we are going to turn this inside out so this eyesore will not be facing out in your beanie. So next, what we're going to do is cut and tie off our yarn, but we want to cut our tail really long. So roughly about 2 feet in length is how long we want our tail. And once you've tied off your yarn, then what we're going to do is weave our tail along this top edge up here. And so I am going to aim to weave my tail roughly about every inch. And we don't have traditional stitches, so you're just going to be weaving in the available loops on this top rim here. And make sure you weave your tail until you get back to your starting tail. And I actually just pulled mine through my starting tail loop. And all you're going to do is pull on your tail to cinch up the top of your beanie. And then once you've gotten this about as tight as it can go, then you're just going to tie your starting and ending tails together a few times to secure them. And I like to leave these as a base for any sort of pom-pom that I want to attach. And if you're not going to attach your pom-pom, then I recommend weaving your tails like this, just to sort of close the gap in the top of your beanie. So now we're going to turn our beanie inside out. And as you can see, our beanie is very, very slouchy. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were making this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Lipstick on a Rig. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.